So here to celebrate 2 album releases, Graeham, masterpieces and ultimate hits. Exciting times for you putting this all together?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. About 5 years ago, I started this idea to put this out, trying to, I guess the initial, well, there's a number of reasons why we've done this. The initial response is to put our faces on a cover of a record, which is not something that we've done a lot, and consequently it's allowed a US band to tour with the name Little River Band and keep audiences don't realise that it's not the original guys that recorded all the records. Yeah. So we've put this out, and because we are the original writers and singers of all the hits, and now this is forever. We've remastered everything. It sounds better than any LRB album ever, and we've got the awesome Ultimate Hits, which is every single ever released around the world, pretty much. On the Ultimate Hits, 25 songs, and then there's the awesome 26 song masterpieces, which I always wanted to put all of my favourite songs from LRB, a lot of the deep cuts in the albums, a lot of fan favourites that were never singles. They're now on one beautiful three volume set of vinyl and 2 CDs, and digital too.
And of course, you wrote many of those big songs, Reminiscing and Lady and Take It Easy on Me, The Other Guy, Night Owls. How does it feel knowing those songs will be played forever and ever?
Well, it's pretty amazing. As I'm getting older, I think we've got a wonderful legacy. I've got a wonderful legacy, really, and my children love the fact that, you know, that my music will be around for a very long time, and it's I'm really grateful for the opportunity which Little River Band gave me. I mean, it was I've written many other songs that could have been hits and may still one day be hits, but you need a vehicle. You need a time in eternity, if you like, when everything comes together. We had the record company, we had the music business was really able to promote bands like us. So if I'd have tried to do this these days, probably wouldn't have happened. But I was fortunate to have the machinery of Capitol Records and a wonderful band of colleagues who were incredibly talented that enabled me to end up with these songs that will possibly live a very long time. Yeah.
I want to talk about Reminiscing. When I was at school, I had a goth friend who was really into The Cure, and he said to me, you know what, this song from LRB, Reminiscing, it's something special. And I said to him, I said, what about The Cure? They're light years apart. But obviously that song connected with so many people, didn't it?
It did, and still does today. I mean, I got I think an email from a guy. He said, I'm a black kid, I'm 18 years of age, and Reminiscing is like one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's just like the genres. We just cross all genres with that song. It's twice the downloads of any other song that we recorded. It was just, we actually recorded it 3 times. It had a difficult time because when we recorded it, the first time we weren't happy with the band track, and then we did it a second time, and then we did it a third time. And then when it was released on Sleeper Catcher and given to Capitol Records, we waited for about 5 weeks. They said, look, we like Sleeper Catcher, but there are no singles on the record. And of course, we not only had Reminiscing, but we also had Lady on there. And eventually, one of their older guys that was working in the New York office, he said, you need to release Reminiscing. And so they did. And of course, went to #1 in New York, went to #3 nationally, and just took the band to a different level worldwide. And it's just continued to be a flagship for us.
But it's so different. I mean, the phrasing of the verse, you know, Friday night, I was late, I was walking you home, we got down to, it's just beautiful. Where did that come from? Can you recall writing it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, firstly, like I'm a big fan of Cole Porter, and if you think of Night and Day, the way that opens, the great thing about like a writer like Cole Porter and a writer like, say, Roy Orbison, they just allow a melody to take the song where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And so there's key changes, like the verse, it has different key changes, and the phrasing of that, it's very unique. So what happened was, we were doing a television program in it's 1977, so it's 40 something years, 45 40 something years since I wrote it. But we were doing a TV show, and we were in the green room, and our lead guitarist David Briggs showed me like a C9 chord, because I can't read music, and he just showed me the shape on a guitar, and I learnt it, and I was just messing about with it. And then when we finished the TV, I came home and I just got my guitar out, and I liked the sound of that chord, and immediately the words and the music just came into my mind, or into my soul, I guess. And about 25 minutes, the whole thing finished, lyric and everything. It was like a spiritual download, I like to call it. It just sort of came in from somewhere else. And it was like nothing I'd ever done. I didn't know what I was doing in terms of when I was putting my hands on the guitar and hearing the chords. I could hear the melody, and so I just moved my hands down until the chord was right for the melody I was hearing. And consequently, I've written something unique, because a lot of very trained musicians, they think it's quite clever, but to me it's very simple to do on a guitar.
You toured the world in the 70s and 80s. What was it like? Was it, were they crazy times for you?
Well, no, not for me. Like, I'm different than most people that was in a rock band. Like, to me, I was always all about work. I love the rehearsals. I'm mainly a songwriter, and I performed. We did 16 world tours. I was on the road for like 10 years. But if I wasn't on stage or doing press, I was in my room writing songs,
right,
working on my craft, and reading biographies of songwriters. That was my life back then. I never went to the bar after the gig, ever. I never went to parties. I never did any of that. A bit boring in that way, but when I would come back off tour, I would have maybe 30 or 40 new songs to submit.
Yeah.
And so, I guess I had a good hit rate, but I wrote a lot of songs.
You had the time with Glenn Shorrock, and then John Farnham came in. How was that period for you?
I loved the Farnham era. John enabled me to go to a new level a different level, should I say, in songwriting, and also people like David Hirschfelder came into the band, particularly for our last album, No Reins, which I would encourage people to check out. It's my favorite Little River Band album. It's got so many great songs on it, and our singing and the playing. By that time we had Steve Prestwich from Cold Chisel. He was on drums. So we had three eras. We had the original lineup, which had Rick Formosa and Roger McLaughlin, who was from New Zealand. That was the first album, Little River Band album, and then After Hours. And then we had what has been deemed or called the classic lineup, which recorded like Sleeper Catcher and all the hits. Yeah. And then in 1982, I think, or 81, 82, well, 81, Glenn left, and at the Net, John Farnham joined. And I call that the Farnham years. So there's three years, and all of them, when you hear these compilations and these packages, they're pretty much equally represented on masterpieces, because there's some stunning songs that we did with John. I mean, particular favourites for me on masterpieces are the two live performances. I don't know if you've listened to them yet, but the live version of Love Letters with John. It's just like, to listen to it now, 40 years later, it's amazing how we were singing back then. So I would encourage that. That's my favorite. I Know It, which was Beeb singing, Beeb and I singing, actually. But but there's just so many wonderful songs, and I guess Masterpieces has become my favourite Little River Band album because all of my favourite cuts are on there.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I liked Monsoon, which was when Glenn came back.
Yes.
Did it click straight away when he came back into the fold?
Yes, it did. We enjoyed those years, and we were expecting. We were signed to a different record company then. We were expecting to have a resurgence, but we never had the financial backing of MCA the way that we had with Capitol Records. Right. And also from a band point of view, Beeb was missing. He wasn't involved with that, with the last two records. And I always missed Beeb in the band because he and I had such a magic vocal blend together as the two of us.
Yep.
Which was, there was a song called "I'm Coming Home," which was a big hit in Australia. I'm not sure what it did in New Zealand, but we did a duo album, and so it was a really good time. We enjoyed those couple of years with those albums, but it just didn't connect big enough for us to go on with it and for us to go take it back to America.
Well, thank you for providing the soundtrack to many people's lives. I just want to touch upon something you mentioned earlier. When we think of Little River Band, it's you, it's Glenn, it's Beeb. It's not these guys up in the States, right? Isn't it time they gave the name back? I know there's money involved, but it's rubbish, really, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I'm so I'm disappointed for the fans because it's sort of too late now, because we wanted to do it 25 years ago, and they have spent vast sums of money legally to prevent us getting injunctions, and it's so disappointing because we get emails all the time from fans saying, bought a ticket to see Little River Band, they're coming to my town, just found out that you guys won't be there, I feel ripped off. Yeah. We get this constantly, but even as late as this week, the promoters over there, they've used a photo of us. They used a photo of Glenn Shorrock to advertise a show coming up this week. They use our recordings to advertise their shows. They sign our greatest hits. That they walk out on stage and get a 5-minute standing ovation, and people don't know that there are not a single original member on that stage. It's unconscionable in many ways in many people's opinions, but it is what it is. And we can either get bitter about it or get on. And I'm getting on by saying, look, one by one, tell your friends, tell everyone, ultimate hits, masterpieces. And next year, we're releasing the whole catalogue, all remastered and re-released. So it'll all be available on CD, and it will all be on what's already on the digital thing, and it's got 14 bonus tracks as well. So, right. So I'm working toward a musical to tell the story. I'm working towards a film. So at the end of the day, if we get a shot at this, say maybe a film or a musical or both, the real story will be told. Yep. And the legacy of the original band will be there forever then. Yep. Yeah.
From my heart, I hope that works out, because you deserve it. You deserve to be known for what you've done,
Exactly.
I better fly. Lovely to chat, and well done once again on the albums.
Thank you very much. And really enjoyed the talk. Thank you.
You take care. Bye-bye.